Welcome back to the show. So, the Fannie Willis Nathan Wade comedy rom com love story was one of my favorite things to watch a couple of years ago. It's funny now in hindsight, and I'm gonna play you a couple of these videos right now just because they're funny. It's amazing that so many people were literally arguing with me on the interwebs. Very few in person when this was actually when they were going after Trump. And they used to tell me about how smart she is and educated. And it's all the same bullshit they tell me about Jasmine Crockett. They project onto these people. They can't really show you any proof and say this is what this person has done. This is what makes them so clever. All these women do are just have really bad attitudes, bad demeanors, and you find out they're corrupt. And just watching her crash out today, it blows my mind. You know, I try to tell people that weaponizing blacks in America against white Americans, it's not new. And it's really just gay white Americans. Their political enemies are straight white Americans. But gay white Americans, they weaponize black people to go after straight white Americans, which is why you see so many black people for no real good reason at all, always attacking conservatives, attacking Trump, attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene. They just hate straight people. And you're like, why? And it's because the people that are behind them are the gay whites who tell them how much they hate white people too, and white people are so evil, and they hype them up. Because there's no way in hell the numbers don't make any sense. How can you be 13% of the population, but what is it? 98% of Trump's prosecutions are all black people going after Trump. Let's see here. There was Fannie Willis. There is Letitia James. There's Alvin Bragg. What are the odds? But let's actually get into the comedy, actually, because I mean that's funny too when you think about it. But let's bring this up, shall we?
You ready to tell them what they want to hear?
You all want to intimidate people from doing the right thing.
She came in wearing the Muhammad Ali robe from the Thriller in Manila, which is insane.
And you think that you're going to intimidate me. You all have been trying to intimidate me for 5 years, which is why I have not been able to live in my house for 5 years, because the N-word has been written on my house. Thousands of threats have come to my office. And instead of doing some legislation, when someone says,
no one showed up to her house and wrote the N-word on her house. And even if they did, that does not mean you move out. You're not afraid of anybody. You're the big, bad, tough, sassy attitude. So you can't go from being unafraid, unapologetic to afraid and apologetic. You can't have it both ways. You got to pick one. This whole DEI nonsense where you hired unqualified people that don't make any sense for certain positions because you have diversity quotas. Thank God those days are over. It's not necessarily embarrassing for me per se when I watched it happen. I'm more so embarrassed for my country because, you know, I've lived abroad for years. Do you know the whole world watches American news and American politics? It's like the outside world. They watch half of their news or a quarter of their news that they watch is about them. The other 75% is about us because what happens in the United States matters to the rest of the world. We are in the front. We're the leaders. That's just a part of it. Comes with the responsibility of being number one. You know, to whom much is given, much is required, the saying. So when these cases are playing and you put these caricatures that are just extremely stereotypical, which you would assume black women all act like, it's such a funny joke, but it's embarrassing for Americans, but it's highly entertaining for foreigners to watch. Just listen to her throughout this and imagine that this was the person that was supposed to be in charge of prosecuting our current president, but our former president at the time. It just shows you she didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of accomplishing that. But the people that they didn't care. They knew you couldn't get anyone with any self-respect to do it. So they picked from the one demographic of people in this country that have a history of having zero self-respect to begin with. So losing your self-respect wouldn't be a big deal. You know, they have that saying that you can't shame the shameless. You couldn't get prosecutors from any other racial background to take a suicide mission like this, where you basically just fabricating charges against the former sitting president. There was only one group willing, and the proof is every single person that went after Trump was from that group. So people might say, Rico, that might be racist. Pattern recognition can never be considered racist. And if it is, then that means your problem isn't with racism. Your problem is with reality. And if you call reality racist, then that means you must not want to be a part of reality anymore, and you're suicidal. And that's not my problem. You know, we have bigger fish to fry. You go work things out with your own mental. Here, I'm just going to talk to you straight. We're going to be honest. I explained it just now. Let's get back to the comedy.
Something inflammatory that you know is going to cause them to be the victims of crime. You ought to do something about it. But you see, I'm not Marjorie Taylor Greene. I ain't going to quit in a month.
I ain't going. And that's the problem with going to an HBCU. You get so used to only living around and talking to other Black people, you think that that's the world. Miss Fannie Willis thought she lived in Nigeria. You live in the United States, lady. You don't get to talk and act like a fucking baboon, a hot ghetto mess. You don't get to be a hoochie mama and be considered a professional at the same time. Even if the voters will vote for you because they think you're going to insult white people for them, and that's why it's not going to stand. Sure, it might seem like we're going through the motions, but she's already been kicked off the case, and she's going to, for what she tried to do and how much she embarrassed our country down there in Fulton County, she is going to have to pay for that. I'm sorry, it's going to happen eventually.
Because somebody threatened me. I took an oath to do the right thing. People came into my community and committed a crime, and I indicted them. And rest assured, if someone else comes in my community and commits a crime, I will indict them again.
That's not true. All of her indictments have been either for political or for, basically to make good ratings for her office. But a lot of them also fail. The YFN, YSL cases, for example, those all failed. They spent millions of dollars and they lost their biggest suspect to house arrest. It's a clown show. It's all a joke. Actually, Young Thug and YFN Lucci should give Trump a call and tell them thank you. Remember, the reason that case ended up getting thrown out is because Trump exposed the fact that not only was Fani Willis sleeping with the lead prosecutor, Nathan Wade, but also the victim, the drug dealer, barber that was a victim, Big Nut, he was sleeping with him too. And Trump exposed that. That literally unwound the entire case against those rappers, etc. And they owe their freedom to Trump. A bunch of people do. But you know what's crazy? They're not even respectful enough to call and say, hey, President Trump, thank you for what you did. Because these were men that were facing life on trumped up charges. Trump exposed the corruption in the office when people looked into it and it was substantiated. Well, now you have to go through and you have to question her about all of her previous cases as well. How they're gathering their evidence. Is there any conflict of interest? She's in a conflict of interest of everything. You can't give certain people any type of power. It goes to their head and they abuse it. Fani Willis is a perfect example of why she was better off just left somewhere making sandwiches, which is funny because that's actually what Nathan Wade said to her back a couple years ago. Take a listen.
Mr. Let's go on and have the conversation.
I'm just asking you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Can you believe that this was the lead? Can you believe that not too long ago, this was the lead prosecutor going after our former sitting president, who is now the leader of the free world once again, as she sits in embarrassment and shame? The problem is the people she surrounds herself with are such lowlifes that she doesn't even feel that she's a lowlife herself. She thinks she's a little bit better than them because she surrounds herself with bums, people that are feeding into her ego and her paranoid delusions of racism and Trump supporters with pitchforks and nooses. She's like a little Smollett in a way. Take a listen to what she says today to deflect from the fact that all of her spending and all of her money laundering and all the stuff she was doing, paying Nathan Wade to go after Trump instead of going after him based on the merits, that all came up today, and she tries to reverse it and bring up somebody calling her the N-word. Bro, these people are so insecure and so they're so just they're easily insulted. They're insulted by nothing, offended by everything. Offended by a word that they say frequently 24 hours a day and pretend it's the end of the world if you hear it, but that's not working anymore. DEI is over. All that sympathy people had, because people are now tracing back the source of a lot of our issues to immigration. And who were the number one group pushing illegal immigration? The Black community kept saying, well, no one's illegal on stolen land, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at people like, well, if you're Black and your land is stolen, why don't you give it to them? Give it back. But they were just saying that to basically demoralize white Americans, make them feel less than so that they can manipulate them more. And it's all just psychology. That's all it is. Anyway, you'll see it applied right here.
I'm going to refer you to the screen. I know you said you don't approve.
I don't look at this. I've never seen it. So I can't talk to you about documents I don't approve and don't review. Can't talk to you about it.
Who does approve the documents in your office when invoices come in?
I thought we'd been through this.
I don't believe you said who reviews the invoices and approves the invoices in your office.
First of all, I have no firsthand knowledge of it.
You have no firsthand knowledge.
You want me to testify about something I don't have any firsthand knowledge of?
I'm asking. I'm going to refer you to the screen. I know you said you don't approve.
I don't look at this. I've never seen it. So I can't talk to you about documents I don't approve and don't review. Can't talk to you about it.
Who does approve the documents in your office when invoices come in?
I thought we'd been through this.
I don't believe you said who reviews the invoices and approves the invoices in your office.
First of all, I have no firsthand knowledge of it.
You have no screen. I
don't review those documents, so you're asking me to look at documents that I haven't for the first time. What I can tell you is that I allowed Mr. Wade to bill 160 hours a week, and then Mr. Wade would be the first one in the office making sure that my staff arrived. He corrected their behavior.
Hilarious. Okay, so the average work week is 40 hours in a week. She allowed him to bill for 168 hours per week. And I wonder how much, let me look that up. How much was Nathan Wade paid per week hourly at $168 per hour? Question mark. Let's see what good old Chat GPT says. GPT. Okay. Times. So he was paid roughly $7,000 per week. $168 per, well, let's see here. No, 168 hours. No, 168 hours per week. Look up how much he was paid. This is a huge scandal. Oh, $250 per hour. So he was paid more than $650,000 in a fake witch hunt case against Trump that was eventually thrown out. So the state of Georgia taxpayers had to foot the bill for a witch hunt just to make a handful of black people feel emboldened and happy that they're going after Trump because Jesse Jackson said he's racist. So was that worth it for you? Trump's not in jail. Trump's not hurt. You are hurt. You're embarrassed. You're the one that have to deal with this. Was it worth it? She's being drugged into court, and she's going to continue to be drugged into and through the court. Her name is completely embarrassed, but think about it. No kids. I mean, she doesn't have a husband. She's old. I mean, but she doesn't care about anything. So none of this really matters. So the punishment in this situation is going to be the process. She's already been removed off the cases. Her other cases have already been thrown out. This is just hilarious just to watch this because so much people had so much vitriol against Trump and they thought she was going to take him down and Alvin Bragg would take him down. Letitia James. You guys aren't noticing 100% of these people are blacks, but I'm the bad guy because I noticed there's a weird pattern. And but there's it gives no credence to me when I say they literally weaponize black people to go and try to do impossible tasks. And then they laugh at the same black people they hired because it's funny to watch them fall on their faces. You don't think it's a joke. You don't think it's a comedy. You don't see a pattern. I'm the only one that sees the pattern here. This is hilarious.
Thought that 8:30 meant 8:30. He taught them that 8:30 means 7:45. He got there before them. He left after him. He taught them how to do this case. And he was a leader to that team and a public servant. And for that, him like me has been threatened.
Man, nobody's threatening these goddamn people. They're lying. These people are out here living in Georgia, running it up with the Migos and 2 Chainz, and no one's threatening them. No one's thinking about them. They're funny to watch. But she said, yeah, he taught us how to do this case. Then you should get a refund because all he taught the rest of the people in your office how to do was fail.
Of times. You want something to investigate as a legislature? Investigate how many times they called me the N-word. Why don't you investigate that? Why don't you?
Who's they? I'll ask again. Who's they? Can anybody in the chat on one of these platforms tell me who's they? Who is they? Who is the person that she's referring to as they? Who's this imaginary adversary who's in the shadows whispering N-word? Who's calling her these names? Who's they? These people are liars and they're disgusting and they're but they serve a purpose. They're willing to do things that no one else with self-respect is willing to do.
Investigate them writing on my house. Why don't you investigate the fact that my house has been swatted? If you want something to do with your time that makes sense, and you can use all this in your campaign ad, you attacked FANI Willis. What have you done, sir? Nothing.
Green.
And what have you done, FANI? What have you done? What have you accomplished? You know, you've embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed your county. You embarrassed your family. You tried to throw your weight around. Even though you got it on you, you don't weigh enough. And Trump is still free as a bird and he's the president. You fucking lost. You lost. And let this be a lesson to other people who are willing to take money to go ahead and throw their family and their name under the bus. This should be a lesson to you. There's going to be an example made out of her, out of Alvin Bragg, out of Letitia James. Yeah, we lost. We had a couple cases thrown out because of the judges. That's still not going to stop the momentum of the administration. The proof is there for her mortgage fraud stuff. And FANI is already cooked. She's already off these cases. She's never going to leave this down. She's going to be known as a DEI Jezebel of Fulton County for life. There's no getting over that. Someone called her a DEI Jezebel. That's embarrassing. You know, she's older. She has kids. That's going to follow you. Anytime one of your kids gets in an argument, they're going to be like, well, shit, at least my mom's not a DEI Jezebel. Now your whole family lost the argument. All because you wanted to go after Trump for something that didn't happen. Oh, he was trying to stop the election. That's his fucking right to challenge results. You're supposed to. But you see, these people aren't real Americans. So they don't respect our values. They don't respect how our country works. They don't respect our rule of law. That's why they want the borders open. They want to decriminalize crime. They don't really care. That's why her county is one of the violent, when it has high rates of crime, because of people like her. No, we are not going to take it easy on her. We're not going to just let her live. We're going to laugh and we're going to make examples out of this, because there will be others in the future. And we want them to think 2 or 3 times and think about these examples before they let themselves pick money over self-respect. Everyone else that they tried to take these cases, Asians, Mexican lawyers, Jewish lawyers, all kind, Cambodian lawyers, they tried everybody. But guess who's the only people talking about we're going to take the money? So Weezer takes it. Weezer takes your money, sir. And start dancing. No, fuck out of here. You see who jumped up and happily took it, and now they're all living in shame. Trump is still free, and they look like idiots. I could have called this a long time ago. This wasn't rocket science. Do me a favor, leave a comment, like and subscribe, share the video. Trump came out on top. I just wanted to make this little video just so we could laugh at FANI together. Hilarious. But I called it. I said this is how it was going to turn out a couple years ago. I was absolutely right. I'm glad I put this on record. This is on historical record that I did call this. And you can always go back and look at my posts on Instagram, right-wing Rico. They're all there talking about FANI Willis. This is hilarious. Like and subscribe. Push me into the algorithm by hitting the like button. The single boyfriend on YouTube or right-wing Rico, either one. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes. I'll see you guys again shortly. And remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.